Hello everyone. Okay. No lights this week because I can't remember where I've put them. I'll have to find them. Anyway, this week's videos are not that big a video. Wednesday's video I'm going to talk about the issue of public relationships here on YouTube, and why it's not necessarily a good idea. And I will use an example. Then the next video, which will be Friday's video, I'm going to sort of adapt the video I was supposed to release last Friday, which was the video on 3 major differences between the UK and the US, which was healthcare, separation between church and state, and free speech. But I didn't want to release the one I'd already done because I didn't want to come across it to come across as this is the way that America should do it type of thing. And also because I've only ever experienced the British side of healthcare and the British side of free speech and the British side of separation between church and state. I'm going to talk about that, and then I'm going to challenge you guys that watch this, if any of you are American, to explain the American side, because I can't, because I'm not American. Might surprise some of you, but no, I'm not American, I'm British. So this one is going to be about public relationships. As we've all seen here on YouTube, a lot of people put their relationships online, and it hasn't worked well for quite a lot of the people. Some very prominent examples, Josh and Clay, that I've known, Social Repose and Jaclyn Glenn on ECM, and many of his girlfriends, and so many others. It's like, and then you've got boyfriend versus girlfriend and lots of other people like that, and it doesn't always work out well, and the relationship can be going good, the relationship can be going great, but then it all falls apart, especially when you're vlogging every day. And people say, oh, such and such players, well, they never cheat on their wife. Jaclyn did, and he's a Mormon. And it's one of those things that just because you're a vlogger doesn't mean you're immune to temptation, doesn't mean you're immune to a lot of things. And then when you have a breakup, which is so public and so gut-wrenching for a lot of people, I'll use 2 examples because they actually show the 2 different sides of things. You have Josh and Clay. They were married, they've been together for several years, they were married for just over a year or just under a year I think, when they split up. They both did a video explaining it, and then they've sort of touched on it a few times since, but that's it. They've not dogged each other online, they've not gone after each other online. It's just a case of we're dealing with that ourselves, and they've both got other stuff going on. Josh has sort of taken a few steps back from YouTube, which I understand because it messes with your head. Colleen's still doing YouTube, but I don't think she can do Miranda anymore because of the whole Netflix thing, so she's figuring out what she wants to do, and you know, there's a few things going on in their lives they don't tell people, which is fine. And it's like, people say, yeah, but we shouldn't know everything about you because we watch you, and it's like, no, you shouldn't. The only parts of my life I share on this channel is a small amount of my health issues. You've met my husband, you've met one of my friends who's also on YouTube, who has a band. That's it. You've not met my mum, or my stepdad, or my biological daddy. You'll never meet him. I have put a few extremely personal things on here, i.e. the topic of me and my biological dad, but I've never, there's a lot of things I don't tell you guys, and that's a way for me to keep people's privacy. It's also a way for me to keep my privacy, because there are some things I'm not ready to share online yet, which is fine. There's a whole part of my husband's family that don't want to be online, so they'll never be online, and I refuse to let that happen. When we go to their house, you might see a picture on my social media, but it won't have them in it, and I do that on purpose. I have pictures of them, and I have pictures we have around the house of them, which is one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of things around the house, because except for this area, primarily because there's pictures of people that mean a lot to me around this house that don't want to be online. When you have such a public breakup like Social Repose and Jaclyn are at the moment, it's very jarring for a lot of people, because a lot of people that like Jaclyn started liking Social Repose, and then this happened, which is what happened with me. I don't agree with everything Jaclyn says or does. That's fine. You know, she's atheist, she's non-religious, she has her opinions on a certain topics. My opinions don't match with hers, but I can respect her having those opinions, and I can respect her wanting to conversate with people that don't have the same opinions she does, which she has done several times. And it's one of those things that when you look at such a public breakup like theirs, and the back and forth that they're having, it's like every video one of them uploads, the other one does a response. And for those of us watching, it's like, really, you shouldn't be doing that, because it's just going to fuel the fire. It's just going to make him think, oh, I've still got my nails in, I've still got my clothes in, there's part of it that still cares about me, type of thing. Which is, when you're talking about somebody who's as as damaged and as messed up as Social Repose is, you don't want to start messing about with the whole back and forth, because that's just going to give him a view that he's got a way back, shall we say. And that's not the way you want to do things with somebody like him. And it's really sobering, because a lot of the breakups that have happened online have been relatively amicable, they have been relatively respectful. This hasn't. Obviously it started off with the fact that he wasn't respectful at all during the relationship, and I don't think he ever had any intention of being respectful, but he acted like a jerk. And even he admits he acted like a jerk. And he was like, you don't like what I do, fuck you. And he's doing all these songs like, I don't want to do this anymore, I want to die, I want to no more and move on and things like that. And it's like, you really, really want to be that petty? You really, really want to be that immature and that childish that this all sounds like a good idea to you? And then the fact that she's responding is just making him think, yeah, she's still got feelings for me. No, she actually hates you right now. And you keep pushing her buttons, it's just going to make matters worse. It's like, he's complaining that she's moved on. It's been 3 months. It's like, do one. And yeah, Jaclyn is fueling it by responding and all that. But I can understand why she's responding. But if she stops responding, he'll stop, and that'll solve an issue. But whether or not that will happen, we don't know. Obviously, they are both very young. They both had deep feelings for each other, even though Social Repose did what he did. I think he actually genuinely did have feelings for her. But he fucked it up. He fucked it up. And that's his own problem that he has to deal with. So, should that ever change? We don't know. We shall see. But that's your problem when you vlog or when you show so much of your personal life online, that when something like this happens, it's very personally is very raw, especially when people are constantly asking her, have you watched his recent video, blah blah blah. Stop telling her that he's done another video, stop telling her that he's done this, stop telling her that he's done that, because that's just going to fuel everything even more. You know, just rein it back, stop interfering, let them both heal and separate. Because if she was ever to go back with him, and I don't think she will, he'd just do it again. Now, I'm not of the opinion that once a cheater, always a cheater, because that isn't necessarily true. But in this case, I don't agree with half of what he does. His music's great, I love his music. He has that going for him. But no, he's one of the slimiest, most manipulative men I've ever seen. And I've seen a fair few. So it's one of those situations where it's a very public breakup and it's causing lots of issues, and he's doing idiotic and stupid things that he shouldn't be doing. She's reacting, she's just making him get more and more excited because she's still watching his shit, and it just needs to stop. And then everybody, including the fans, can say, right, we can heal now, we can breathe, that's it, we're done. If we carry on like this, it's just going to make matters worse. But that's the problem with having a very public relationship. It's the same with Hollywood stars. It's like when Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie split up. Half the planet was like, oh! And it's like, at the end of the day, are you surprised when their whole relationship started while he was already in a relationship? And, you know, the start of the relationship wasn't great. The start of the relationship was a very questionable situation. And then the continuation of the relationship was very questionable. And, you know, she's saying this, that and the other, and he's saying, oh no, she's lying. And it's the same type of thing where unless you are within the walls, you don't know what's going on. And when you're talking about somebody as powerful as Angelina and Brad Pitt, you got to remember that either one of them can pay people to say what they want, and they will do it because they have the money to do that. In this instance, that doesn't apply, but you've got this social Repose and his core group of fans, and then you've got Jaclyn and her core group of fans, and then they're just fighting each other. It's a constant battle between each other. And he's like, oh, for God's sake. You know, it's just like, grow up type of thing. A lot of it, I think, is their age. And a lot of it is also because Jaclyn is really hurt, which I understand. But I think Jaclyn was ready to you know, not necessarily forget, but just to step away from it. She's like, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it. But people just keep pushing it, which doesn't help matters at all. So, hopefully they will stop with the back and forth, because it's getting tedious for a lot of people. We shall have to wait and see. So, with that being said, stay safe, be good, have fun, and I'll see you on Friday.